We are living through remarkable times. Never before have we seen society, industry, and technology all changing at such a rapid pace. We have robots that think and act like humans, and we have humans that are glued to their phones and acting like robots. Nobody knows where this social experiment's going to end, and a lot of us have decision-making paralysis, just afraid of what to try next. So I'm going to spend the next few minutes trying to convince you to believe in yourself and take a life-changing risk of your own. This first part of my speech is not all that inspiring, but just stay with me and we'll get there. I have worked for 35 years in luxury hospitality. It was not my original plan. It certainly was not my dream. My dream was to be a singer on Broadway. But when I moved to New York City and found out how expensive it was, my dream had to be put on hold so that I could pay bills and eat. So I took a job as a server and a butler in an Upper East Side, very exclusive hotel. And I had to learn a lot of things. I had to learn what a fish fork was, because I really had no idea. I had to learn 900 different points of luxury service. And I had to learn, which is what a lot of people are interested in, all the secrets of some of the most famous people in the world. Working as a butler, I actually saw a lot of them in their underwear. And no, I will not tell you who they were. Over time, I learned something else. I learned the stories of the people, mostly immigrants, who worked behind the scenes just to make all the magic of the front of the hotel possible. They were really hardworking. Some of them came from countries I'd never heard of at the time, and they had stories I couldn't believe. And they did jobs you couldn't imagine. These people sacrificed their time and their energy and worked for very little money, just so their children might have a better future than they did. Those are actually the stories that I think should be told. They inspired me then, and they still do. So as people change, time changes, my dreams changed. I fell in love with hotels, actually. I realized I didn't need to sing on Broadway. I had excitement every day in my job. So I practiced and I learned my craft, and then I moved on to being a manager, and I climbed, crawled, often fell off the corporate ladder. I ended up eventually as an international tourist trainer, traveling around the world, teaching teams selling skills. I was traveling 250 days a year, all while also raising 2 small children with my husband. It was a really, really hectic time, but it was fascinating work meeting people from all of the continents. At one point, I realized that I wasn't so interested, actually, in making hotels money. Making somebody an extra $50 million a year is pretty thrilling, but actually, when the employee realized that their commission checks could double their salary and change their lives, that was my greatest reward. So after about 3 years in this job, I tried to shift focus a little bit. I asked my managers if I could focus on inspiring the employees, helping them plan their career goals, more so than just teaching them selling skills. Unfortunately, my supervisor at the time did not share in my vision. At the beginning, he told me I was too young and too inexperienced and too junior and wouldn't do any good. And over time, he told me after 5 years, I was too old and had been there too long and was too valuable to move, right? So that was it for me. My family still needed my salary, however, so I kept on working. I kept my head down until October 26, 2010 was a night that changed my life. I was sitting in an executive lounge at Miami Airport. I had a 9 p.m. flight to Boston, finally going home, and I caught my reflection in a window, and I thought, I've got to change my life. I look exhausted. And as soon as I thought it, I felt guilty, actually, for wanting more than I already had. I had a great family. I had a cool, glamorous job. But it really wasn't that I wanted more, right? What I wanted was something different. And maybe that's happened to some of you, right? Everybody was congratulating me on my cool gig, but I felt like a fraud. Something was missing. That night also, I almost missed my plane. After 3 glasses of Chardonnay, which was an unfortunate choice, and they changed my gates, I had to run through the terminal, barely making it before the doors closed. And I had 150 angry passengers mad that I'd caused a delay. So I'm sheepishly walking by them. I'm sweaty from running and the wine. And I'm walking, and I see in the very back row, my aisle seat, a large gentleman had taken my seat, and he was balancing a big bucket of chicken on his lap. And he looked really mad at me for showing up. And I didn't want to draw any more attention to myself, so instead of asking him to move, I just kind of poured myself over him, and I wedged myself between his body and the window. And the warm air as we took off was blowing on me from the vent, and I thought, I really do need to change my life. And I fell asleep or passed out, whatever you want to call it. I was awoken about 1 hour into the flight by a loud boom, and my face hit the seat in front of me. It hit me so hard, my nose was bleeding, running down my shirt. My eardrums collapsed, and everybody around sounded like they were underwater. Also, the man next to me, his chicken had flown up in the air, and chicken bones and pieces of fat and grease had rained down on us from overhead. The plane went dark, it got very cold, and we could hear the oxygen suck out of the airplane like this. And for a second, I thought maybe we crashed. Then the pain in my nose and my ears brought me back around to reality. The mask dropped from the ceiling, just like the video nobody pays attention to. The bag does not inflate, but oxygen is flowing. The pilot came on and he gave an announcement. He said, "Ladies and gentlemen, I'm very sorry. We've lost pressure. I don't know what's wrong with this plane." This is not comforting, is it? It turned out what happened to this plane was the roof of the plane had a metal piece that ripped open like a tin can. But we didn't know that at the time. He still had more good news. He said, "We are 1 hour over the Atlantic Ocean. We need to turn around and go back to Miami. Also, we're at 31,000 feet. There's no air up here." Who knew? And so we only have 2 minutes left. We need to go down to 5,000 feet very quickly. So hang on. And he took a very sharp left and really nosedived it down to 5,000 feet while things fell on us from the overhead bins. Well, we leveled off, and the plane got a little bit warmer, and air came back into the plane. We removed our masks, and actually the man next to me turned out to be pretty nice. He gave me 2 disposable napkins, which I shoved up my nostrils just to stop the bleeding, and he gave me a stick of gum so that it could help the excruciating pain in my ears. And I looked out, and I saw the moon. And whenever I see the moon, I talk to my father, who had passed away a few years before that. And I said, "Well, Dad, I guess I'll see you soon." And in my mind, he answered, "Absolutely, Kate, I'm here whenever you need me." And it settled into my bones, because I had never in all my years of flying seen this happen and see it end well, that we were probably all going to die. So I started my what to do before dying checklist. First thing I did was I thought of my children, and I hated them to not have a mother. But I realized that they know my heart. They can talk to the moon like I do. They know what I'd say. And their father loved them very much, and they would be okay, and that was a comfort. I thought about my husband. I would hate to leave him. I love him so, but he's handsome, and he cooks, and he cleans, and some single woman will scoop him up. He won't be single for long, and actually, weirdly, that too was a comfort. I next asked myself, do I have any regrets? And one came to mind. I had just spent the last 8 years of my life making rich people richer. And there's nothing wrong with that, but I discovered that I wanted to spend the rest of my life, if I didn't die, making regular people richer. So time slowed down and stretched out like taffy. It's almost like if you're going to be in a car accident and you see it coming, you brace yourself for impact, and those couple seconds feel like minutes. But in this case, we couldn't brace ourselves. We were going at 400 miles an hour, and it felt like a week. So in that time, I started to plan what my future was going to be. As we came in towards the runway, we could see that everything was lined up with fire trucks and ambulances just in case. And my seatmate and I, although we had never said a word to each other, and I don't know if we even spoke the same language, we held hands just for support as we came in, and it was a very non-eventful landing. And after that, they yelled at us a little. They came on board, the management, and they said, "We have another plane for you. It's across the airport. Hurry up." And we all hurried over, and they said, "If you're injured, you can't fly." And I had bloody napkins. I went, "I'm good," and I just went because I wanted to go home. And so we got on another plane by midnight. So instead of coming home at 1 in the morning, I got home at 4 in the morning, which actually for that airline is on time. I woke up the next day with a really sore body, but I knew in my heart what I had to do. So I quit my job and I started my own company. And I've been doing what I do ever since. Now, let's be clear, I still make the money, right? That's why my clients hire me. But I work now with leaders that care about their employees. If they don't care about their employees, I don't stay with them for long. I work with leaders who understand that the employees of the hotel are your assets worth investing in. They're not your biggest expense and your liability. And I work hard to make their lives better every day. Now, just in case you're wondering, what the heck does all this have to do with me? I've not been in a plane incident. Well, first of all, good. I don't recommend it. But actually, if you think about it, it's not so different. We are all on this planet moving at a breakneck speed, unsure of how our journey is going to end. So I have 3 suggestions for you when you're learning how to navigate. Number 1, stay flexible. Don't be afraid of a sharp left turn. Detours are always the best part of every trip. Number 2, whenever possible through this journey, hold somebody's hand, because helping somebody else is actually the best thing you can ever do. It's how your life will be more meaningful. And then finally, if you know what lights you up inside, if you know what would make you happy, do it. Don't ask somebody for permission, especially someone that doesn't care about you. And don't wait until you're not afraid anymore, because trust me, that never goes away. Take the risk, be resilient, and know that there are lots of people cheering you on every step of the way. Thank you.